Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jacob Maynard, and tonight we have a special report on the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. The Academy's mission is to produce leaders of character that will go on to lead airmen in our Air Force. But how does the Academy assess the military aptitude of these young men and women? Currently in place is the MPA system, and here to talk more about it with us is Alex. Alex, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So what can you tell us about the current MPA system?
Currently, the MPA system is based a lot on stratification. From each class, it starts at 50%, goes to 80% based on your class. A lot of people have issues with this because those that aren't in squad as much aren't seen by their peers and by their AOCs who give them their stratification. So that's one of the biggest problems we see. We also see the group and wing staff cadets that have jobs outside of the squadron. Their MPA is a minimum 2.5 and goes up to 4.0. However, people that are just in squad start at 2.0 and go all the way up to 4.0. So there's a lot of disconnect there with people, and a lot of people are unhappy with that.
Thanks, Alex. Now let's head out to our field reporter, Brian, and see what the cadets had to say about the current system.
Good evening. My name is Brian Sitcher, and we are here inside the United States Air Force Academy. We've had special permission to talk to cadets for their first take on what they think the cadet MPA system is all about.
In my opinion, there's not very much transparency in it. Another big issue, I think, is that you could have a cadet that's a superstar, at least amongst the cadet size, but that can be superseded very easily by a permanent party, an AOC, AMT, which isn't to say it's a bad thing, but the cadets don't really have as much of a voice as I think they should have.
I think it's too complicated. Like, there's too many things that try to factor in. Like, they could boil it down to like just simple things. I mean, there's the PAIs and SAMIs, that it's obvious. There should be some factor in it, and then yeah, your AOC should rank you, but your AOC shouldn't have the overall say of what you really are going to get. There should be more of your immediate supervisor should rank you or give you some sort of rating from 0 to 4.0.
The big problem with the MPA system, if I had to pick one, it's the lack of understanding from cadets of what it truly means or the purpose of it. So often as cadets we're told you need a high MPA, you're being developed as officers, leaders of character, but we don't know how those two things connect. And because of that, there's not the synergy between your MPA and what you're actually doing to try to improve it.
I literally do not know anything about the MPA system or how to find out about it. I got nothing.
As you can see from the previous interviews, we've determined that the big problems with the MPA system are that the MPA system is too complex and demotivates cadets.
As you can see from the cadet responses, cadets are very confused of what the MPA system is. Cadets overall feel they are powerless with this MPA system, specifically with the case of C2C Steven Stumter.
For me, I was .014 away from making it the comms list. I asked my AOC what I could have done to get .014. She laughed, and she said I was a pretty good cadet, so I didn't really know what question I could have, what I could have done better to get .01. So I guess I'm a pretty good cadet, but as far as military standards, I'm just a shade away from being an outstanding comms list cadet. So I feel like apparently I'm doing pretty good, but I feel like I could do better.
While the majority of the cadet wing feels negatively about the current MPA system, we wanted to find out what the Academy's leadership had to say about it. So we interviewed Master Sergeant Patty, a senior NCO Academy military trainer here at the Academy. Let's take a look.
Sure. I think the recent changes that were made to the system will be beneficial. Yes, there'll be growing pains, I guess you could say, with cadets learning the new system, but I think it's more indicative of what we would do active duty versus what was done in the past, where the average was a 2.9 to 3.2, and that's pretty much where everyone fell. And the lower end of the scale was reserved for probations, and the upper end wasn't really used at all either. But I think it is an improvement because it forces cadets to really take time and grade their subordinates on multiple categories, and that's just what we do in the Air Force as well. So I think it's a good change. Like I said, it's going to be a wake-up call for some cadets when these MPAs first come out, but they have to realize it's all the same for everyone, and it's trying to be more equitable to people and recognize performers that are performing well and the ones in the middle they're going to have to accept that they're in the middle and really take a good look at them and see how they can improve their performance.
So we can see that Permanent Party believes that the MPA system is moving towards evaluating cadets better, but cadets on the ground floor still seem to feel a disconnect. My guest Alex has devised a proposed solution that would help everyone reach a shared middle ground. Alex, what can you tell me about this proposed solution?
Our new solution standardizes the stratification a lot more than the current MPA system. Instead of having it between 50 to 80% like it currently is, but based upon your class, it's set at a set level so that it's not different as you go through years of the academy. We've also decided to include more peer feedback because we wanted to make sure that there's a fair advantage for those that aren't in this program as much as those who are. Just because the AOCs and the AMTs make the final decision on the stratification which goes into the MPA, we've decided that peers have better input and can make it more fair. We've also decided to eliminate the 2.5 versus the 2.0 minimum GPA. If you're in group or wing staff, you will still have the same minimum GPA as a cadet that has a job in the squadron. This just makes it more fair for everybody and less cynicism comes about from it.
As you can see from our survey data and interviews with cadets, it's quite obvious that cadets are not satisfied with the current MPA system. Additionally, cadets don't know exactly what goes into their MPA system and what contributes certain percentages to what becomes the number that is their MPA. Our proposed solution is to simplify the MPA system and give more power back to the cadets. To do this, we suggest that the stratification component of the MPA be reduced to 50% for all classes. The other 50% would be comprised of the existing objective military scores. Our other proposed solutions include eliminating the group and wing staff minimum 2.5, making it the same 2.0 that the rest of the cadet wing has, and eliminating the automatic 1.9 MPA for those cadets on alcohol and honor probation. The goals of these changes are to empower and motivate cadets, simplify the system so cadets know what contributes to an MPA instead of rewarding A while expecting B, and provide more individualized consideration by letting cadets be evaluated by their peers.
So when we proposed our idea for the MPA system, here's what the cadets had to say.
So yes or no, would you be more motivated if cadets in your chain of command, cadets that knew you, were evaluating you instead of your AOC, AMT?
I do, because I think they see you. They see what you do more often than not. I mean, as an academic officer, I see my AOC. I see a lot for like Form 68s for academic probation, that kind of thing. But most of the stuff, most of the academic plans stuff, I'd shoot right up to the squadron commander, and she doesn't ever really see any of that. So I feel like there's not really a bias against it. I mean, I could go and talk to her more often, but there's limited amount of time that I have to see her, and sometimes my time and her time don't line up at all.
Yeah. In some aspects, I feel like my peers, they may know a little bit more about me than my AOC. My AOC always sees happy-go-lucky Steven, but I think it says a lot more when you have someone that sees you every day and sees how you carry yourself, at the table, in formation. If I'm not screwing around in formation, my AOC may say that about one time a week, but for the other cadets that are there all the time, they see me every day, so that could motivate them to give me a better grade than her if she just sees me every now and again.
I think it would be more motivating. Whether or not that's the final answer, I don't know, but I think it would be more beneficial than the current system. If cadets, my peers, my subordinates, and my leadership were the ones who were actually evaluating me, I know that what I was doing at all times could be judged, and it would encourage me at least to try to be a better person, try to be a better leader.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have for tonight. What we've seen is how cadets are assessed militarily at the Academy, how they feel about the current system, and Alex and her team's solution to lower stratification levels, normalize the system for all cadets, and increase feedback. I'm Jacob Maynard. Good night.